This is the podcast overview for week 8, where we will be covering Chapter 7, Anxiety, Anger, and Depression. Here are your to-do list items for this week. I'm going to walk you through this. You have the objectives for Chapter 7 here. And as usual, I will put the link right underneath here for you to listen to the podcast of these objectives, where I outline each one and I talk about the importance of the different things you're going to be looking at this week. Here are your lecture slides for Chapter 7. And then I've got several different videos for this week. One is a diaphragmatic or belly breathing video. It teaches you the proper technique of diaphragmatic breathing, which helps to calm you down during moments of anxiety or panic that you might be experiencing. And this is going to be tied into our discussion this week. So, very short video, want to check that out. I've also posted a video on anxiety disorders classified by the DSM, and doesn't have a great flashy picture to go with it, but it's a great video outlining and explaining all the different categories of anxiety disorders that your book specifically covers. And there's a couple in there that your book doesn't talk about. You won't be responsible for those, but any overlap here in the video with what's in the textbook is fair game. So I think that will help kind of bring it to life a little bit more what these are. If you've taken abnormal psych, you've definitely had some experience with this, and you may know all of this already. Probably covered a little bit of it too in intro psych, but definitely this will help. I posted another video here. It's just a crash course psych video on OCD and anxiety disorders. Help illustrate those a little bit more. And then a video on intermittent explosive disorder, which is pretty much anger in its worst form, right? So how it can be destructive, how it's tackled, symptoms, and all of that. And then the last video I've posted for you is covering major depressive disorder, the DSM categorization for that, outlining the prevalence rates, symptomology, and treatment. For your discussion this week, we're going to be looking at just the Harrington book. We're not covering the McGonigal book this week. So first thing you're going to be completing is the Insight Exercise 7.1 on page 212. It's a self-analysis questionnaire, so you're going to be filling that out and interpreting your score. And then I want you to talk about what top 3 strategies described in the chapter do you believe are most effective for managing everyday anxiety that you might experience. Have you tried any of these strategies? If so, how effective did you find them? And why did you pick those 3 over the others mentioned? So we'll have some variation here. It'll be good to see what everybody puts, and this will help also in your responding to other people. Maybe you can find others who picked ones different from you to comment on their posts this week. Number 3, why do you think stress is linked to depression? We are a few generations very ill-equipped to deal with stress. What factors do you think might be contributing to that? And what might be the role of media, social media, and culture today? That's really making it difficult for individuals to deal with stress, thus leading to higher rates of depression. How can a person create what's called self-generated stress? You're going to learn about that in the chapter. And this is what typically leads to depressed mood. So where does that come from? And how do you distinguish between normal depression and clinical depression? So what's the difference there? And when they say clinical depression, they mostly mean major depressive disorder. What strategies can a person employ to maintain a healthy mental state and at the same time flourish? So a hint here is you might want to check back at chapter 2. We talked about flourishing, what that means and how that's defined. And then lastly, with that video on abdominal breathing or diaphragmatic breathing, I want you to do the exercise along with the video. I want you to practice breathing in that way. And I want you to try to do this several times throughout the week, maybe even sometimes when you're feeling stressed or anxious. Take a moment out and try those breathing exercises. And then I want you to just talk about how you felt about that. Was it easy? Was it hard? How'd you feel after? And what benefit can you see an exercise like that having in moments of anger and stress, particularly at dissipating anger and mitigating the effects of stress on our body physiologically. So that's the discussion. I will be putting your exam in here. You'll see it right below here. As soon as that's ready, that will go in. That's your third exam, and it is covering chapters 6 and 7, and that will wrap up the week. Please let me know if you have any questions.